Hey guys, so today we're going to be doing a makeup tutorial. This look here, I'm basically just taking you through all the steps that I like to do to create one makeup look. You'll see kind of all the different products that I like to use. This is highly requested, so if you want to know how I got this look here, it's just a nice glowy tan look with kind of a simple eye and lashes. Please keep watching. So I always do my skincare before my makeup. A lot of people do say, if I'm using a tinted moisturizer or a moisturizing foundation, does that mean I still need skincare? And 100% yes you do, because skincare has proper ingredients in it that are going to really help your skin and act as a barrier between your skin and your makeup. So definitely 100% use cream. The first thing I'm going to start with is a really nice primer, and because my skin is like a dry to normal texture, I like to use something that's really glowy underneath so that whatever I put on top still looks really nice and healthy and glowy. So I have been absolutely obsessed with the Hollywood Flawless Filter by Charlotte Tilbury, and I love it. So I'm just going to put it on. I just put like little, if I'm looking down it's because I'm just looking in a mirror in front of me. But yeah, so I'm just going to start by putting it all over my face, go in and blend it in. And this is basically going to cancel out some redness because it's got a tiny weeny bit of coverage, and it's also going to give you this really gorgeous dewy look without any glitter or anything. So straight away I'm a little bit more glowy. So then afterwards I go in with a foundation. So the ones that I really like to use are, so for full coverage I really like the Huda Beauty foundation. I use the colour Baklava. And then for every day I love using the NARS Sheer Glow, as you can tell because it looks a bit bad and bruised. I use the colour Syracuse. Let's shake it up, and I like to mix it with another colour, so I'm going to use that today. The thing that I like to use to apply foundation is the Morphe M439 brush, and it's amazing because it's super dense but really like quite big, and it's also really fluffy. So when you're blending in your foundation, it blends A, really quickly, B, like super smooth, and it also just really buffs it out. So this is like my quickest method of foundation. And if I want to do something that's super lightweight, I use a beauty blender. So once I've blended about 45 foundations together, which you don't have to do, I like to just mix them on the back of my hand and apply to my face. So I like to just apply it all to my face using my hands, and I start off with a little bit and then I start to blend in. So I'm just going to take a brush and blend. And I'm looking into the mirror because I still have not mastered how people do makeup tutorials and don't look in the mirror. Like, I'm so bad. I've got a tiny forehead, so I always have to be really careful when blending in. But I like to kind of just pat it in. Always go down the neck as well. You can still see my skin's nice and glowy, and it's also matching my neck, but even if it is that little bit too dark, I always brighten up my under eyes and kind of even it out. So I like to take my beauty blender with a tiny bit more product on it, and I just bounce over to make everything really flawless. I also really like to get in my hairline, which is super random, but if you are doing foundation, you have to make sure that the whole of your kind of skin is the same. And if you need to blend things down, blend things down. You're wearing a low top and you're worried about it not being the same colour, blend it down. So now I've got my base on, and then we're going to start with concealer. So I've been loving a couple of different concealers at the moment, but the one that I'm literally obsessed with, I've literally tried it on every single skin tone, I've tried it on every single skin type, and it looks insane on everyone, and it looks amazing even as a foundation. So this is the Magic Away concealer. I like to use a couple of different, just depending on what I'm going for. So I'm probably going to take the colour number 7. There's, I think, 16 or 15 shades in the range as well. So how I like to do my concealer is kind of starting down the side of the nose and drawing a little triangle like that. Don't mind my little faces that I do, but basically I do that. I'm going to take it down the sides of the nose as well, a bit on the chin, a bit down the nose and a bit on the forehead. So then that's when I kind of also, a good trick is if you want it more full coverage, just leave it on for a little bit and then it will start kind of melting into your skin. Powders in it will be activated and then it will be a bit more full coverage. And then I also kind of, again, a bit extra, if I'm doing a bit extra, I like to go in with the Instant Age Rewind by Maybelline, which is really brightening. And I like to go just in the corners to brighten up just a tiny weeny bit more. Then I like to take my beauty blender, or you can use like a really flat top kabuki brush to blend that in as well, and it will be more full coverage again. But I like to take my beauty blender and I look up and blend. And I like to go onto my eyelid just a little bit. Now I've done concealer, I kind of do, after my look, like to go in with a little bit more. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as that. And then we're going to go on to a little bit of cream contouring and highlighting. So again, from Charlotte Tilbury, it's the Beauty Light Wand. It's basically an all Charlotte Tilbury brand tutorial. So I like to just take it and you can just squeeze a little bit up of product. And then I like to just put it on. I do like to take mine quite down, like down a little bit, and I like to put it on the tip of my nose, do a little exclamation mark, and I like to go above the brow bone as well and under, and I just take it and blend it in. I just think powder highlighter sometimes, unless you literally saturate your brush with it, it looks so powdery, and people always say, oh my god, it looks amazing, but in natural lighting, not in pictures, you can really see someone's highlight on them when it's powder. So I always find if I do a cream first, then A, it looks more natural, B, it looks like healthier, and C, when I put a powder on top, it won't look as powdery because it will just melt into the cream. So I like to kind of take that quite low down to give me more of a glow. So now I like to take my cream contour. So for my contouring, the one tip I would say, from where my ear slopes down, my big ass ears slopes down, that's where I like to put my contour. So I do like to do it quite high up because my cheekbone's here. I like to do it quite high up, but for me that means that everything just gets lifted and drawn in from here rather than from down here. I think it just suits my face more. I don't actually know what shape my face is. I think it's kind of like round and potato-like. I like to just take my contour and just draw the line like that. And then I like to also, wow, this colour's actually really nice, on my forehead. I don't like have much going on my forehead, but I like to have a little bit of contour on my nose, just so that it looks a little bit shorter and a little bit more like sun-kissed. And I don't like to go too far down with my contour either. I also kind of like it under the mouth as well because it makes your lips, gives you a little bit of like a natural contour and like a lip line. I also, weird fact, but I've always wished that I could have a cherry chin. I was going to say a bum chin, but that's offensive. A cherry chin, a dimple chin. I really like the look of dimple chins, and when people want to get rid of them, it really upsets me because I've always just thought that it's so pretty. And then I like to take like a small short brush. This is like a Charlotte Tilbury, the old magic complexion brushes, and it's literally dying a million deaths. And I like to blend always into the hairline. I like to blend it into the hairline because then that way it looks more natural. It looks like the sun has hit you there, and I love that. I always blend up and into my temple and into the hairline. I never blend downwards. That's where I think a lot of people make mistakes with contouring, is they think that you have to blend downwards, but really that's just going to make you look gaunt. And I'm blending in circles as well. And up. So now we've done a little bit of contouring. I also really like, for just bronzing up the face in general, I like the Ibiza stick by Charlotte Tilbury. Smells like chocolate cake. Go in with a little bit of that as well, and it just gives me this really gorgeous like bronzy glow. So I really like the Charlotte Tilbury Moon Beach stick. It's like the Ibiza one, but another colour. It's just a blushy colour. And I like to just use like a duo fibre brush. And I like to go in not that it does that much. Just gives me a bit of a peachy glow. So for brows, I've kind of zoomed you in a tiny bit more, which is so comfortable for me, I must say. So I like to always start by brushing up the hairs. To me, it makes such a difference because people basically have more lifted brow bone. It gives you that really gorgeous effect of it being lifted, especially with a bit of like a highlight underneath as well. It just makes the shape so much more visible as well, instead of having like your eyebrow hairs going everywhere. So I like to start by brushing my hairs. Then I use this NYX pomade. It's kind of exactly the same as the Anastasia pomade, but it's just so much cheaper. I use the colour Espresso. I like to use a nice angled brush. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I like to draw a line from where my brow starts, and it should always start where your nose is. The arch should always be on the corner, and then it should end where your eye line goes up. So you should always have that three-way point with your eyebrows. And then I like to take a line from where it starts all the way up to where the brow points. I forgot what it's called, but you know what I mean. And then I just basically, so many people do it in different ways, but I just basically take really light strokes and just fill the brow in. Then when I get to the arch, I like to use my brush and just do like a little dip. And then if you feel like you've done too much or they're too bold, which sometimes I do, I'm not gonna lie, I like to just take a spoolie and brush it out a bit to soften the brow. We're gonna start with eyes. I'm not doing anything too extravagant because I did want to focus more on the face, but I do want to do a little bit to the eyes just to show you like a nice, maybe like a date night look or something. So I always like to use, absolute massive shock, I like to use a cream base. I don't really believe in eye primers, to be honest. Like, I think they're nice if you want to cancel out any redness and you've got veins, fair. I love this Max Factor colour. This is literally like my favourite eyeshadow in the whole entire world, and it's called the Excess Shimmer. It's probably out of date, I'm not gonna lie, but I actually don't care. It's in the colour Bronze. So it is a more like a dewy bronzy colour. So I like to just take like a synthetic brush. I stole this from my sister, Story Towels. And it can be fluffy, it can literally be anything as long as it's synthetic. And I like to just take a little bit of this and go in on my eye and just start on the bottom. For me, I like to start on the bottom. Some people like going into their crease first. That's great, good for you, love that. But I just like to go all over my eye and basically blend out with my finger. This is just for more of a natural look. I'm not doing any crazy looks. Again, you can use your finger if you want to, but I just like to have like a little cute smoky eye going on first and lay down some matte, not matte, cream. What am I saying? But I do, you can see I'm going into my crease. So now that I've got this cute base going on, I'm so glowy, what is going on? Then we can take some eyeshadow. I'm not that bothered about eyeshadow day to day. I don't feel like I have to wear it. It's just, now that we're here, we'll put a little bit on. But again, you can totally just leave it here and put some mascara. The one thing I do like to do at the beginning of my eye routine for everyone, including people who complain that they don't have enough lashes or their lashes aren't thick or whatever, this is a good tip. And that is tight lining. So tight lining is literally my favourite thing ever, and I don't know what I did without it. It's just kind of like lip lining as well, like I don't know what I did without it. I show this to so many women, and it's basically, I should sharpen it but can't be bothered. I like taking a really soft kohl pencil that doesn't transfer, and the one that I have tried and tested that I love so much is the Charlotte Tilbury Rock and Kohl in Bedroom Black. If you have a lighter complexion and lighter eyes, I suggest you use a really dark brown, and it still looks amazing, but the warmth in it really brightens your eye. So I like to just take it and have the top of it facing upwards, and then I look down or close my eyes. and it just makes automatically my eye, I did scratch my eyeball like 10 times though, but for me it just makes my eyes look a little bit more boom, and it makes my lash line look a lot thicker. So that's what I really like to do on day to day when I'm wearing not that much makeup, and I could just literally leave it here and put mascara or lashes on and be done. So I've got the Morphe, the Jaclyn Hill Vault palette. I really like these colours because they're nice and warm, so I use that a lot. So I'm just taking a nice, like a warmy brown colour mugshot here, and I'm just gonna put that in my crease. Again, I like to hold my brushes quite far down and move the brush like this instead of with my arm. I like to let my fingers do the blending, and then I like to lift my brows, pop the brush in my hood here, and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Literally let your fingers do the blending and you'll see that it basically is done for you. Blend, blend, blend. And then go in here. I don't like me with loads of eyeshadow on. And I like to go a little bit higher up than my crease, but not too far. But then I do like to take a bit of a brighter colour. Just like to take like a tiny little smudge brush. I don't know if you can see. It's very dense and very small. And I like to just take a nice bright colour and pop it in my inner corner and my brow bone. And that's just going to give you a really nice, like, bright, wide-eyed look, is to do it in the inner corner and under your brows. I really like the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish Powder, which is kind of dead at the moment. I've got a new one waiting to be used, and this has basically got rose wax and almond oil in it, so it's super moisturizing and it's never going to dry out your skin. It basically blurs your skin and doesn't have any flashback. So for me this is like the perfect powder. And then I'm still glowy where I want to be glowy, and then matte where I want to be matte, and I just think that's the best kind of look to do, so you're not too matte or too wet looking all around your face, but you're nice and glowy on your cheeks. If you don't put eyeshadow on your bottom lid, it doesn't look finished. I'm just gonna break it to you right now. It's not gonna look finished. To even just do a little bit like that under the eye makes the biggest difference. So now we can do the eyeliner. The NYX Epic Ink Liner. It's waterproof and it's super black and it lasts a really long time. Have mine for ages and haven't had to repeat buy in a long time. And then I like to pull my eye, but that's just because I've got a little crease in here. So for me it's really hard to just like look in a mirror and draw it like that, because it will end up looking crazy. The best way for me to describe how to do a perfect eyeline, which if anyone knows me, they know it took me a long time. You basically just carry on from where your eye line underneath goes upwards. That's literally the easiest way to do it, and then extend it as far as you want and then join it. But there are so many different ways. You can always pull it backwards. You can, I always hold it from the side, I never hold it straight on, but you can do it that way, you can do it half that way and then draw the line that way, because it's obviously got a tip, so it helps you get a straight line. Just try and practice all the different ways, and I promise practice makes perfect. So no. So I've done the imaginable, and I've just zoomed you in a second to see how to put on lashes, because I was going to skip it, but I figured that some people really wanted to know how to put on lashes, use them as a moustache. So what I like to do, put the tiniest bit of glue on. I don't know why people layer so much glue on their lashes when you really don't need that much. And I basically just put it on the little band. I look straight with my eyes open and pop it on from the top. Too much, and I just leave that. I don't touch the lashes, I don't go crazy on them, I just leave them for the glue to go dry. So then you're just going to pop it on again from the middle. I would use tweezers, but I would be lying if I said I had some. This one's dry now, so I can just take them and pinch them together with my natural lashes. Leaving this one to dry for a second, and then I can zoom you out and we can press them together and finish off the tutorial. I like to do powder bronzing first and then highlighting. That's just how I like to do it. So I like to just take a bit of a contour. My favourite bronzer is still the Hourglass bronzer, which again I spoke about in one of my last makeup videos. Link down below. So now we're just using the Hourglass bronzer. I don't actually know what it's called because it says Ambient Radiant Bronze Light, maybe that's what it's called. So I'm just taking it, and I like to just really lightly draw circles to the back of my face, and then on the fofo and on the nose. It just really warms up. This like product is super like warm and like sun-kissed looking, and it's got a bit of a glow to it as well, which is what I really like. Next we're going in with a highlighter. At this point I like to use a setting spray. I've got the Marc Jacobs one, which is like kind of milky and like really moisturizing, and I like to quickly just spritz my face a tiny bit, mainly focusing on the cheekbones, then take a gross little highlight brush like the one that I have and spray your brush, and then take your favorite highlighter. Mine is this one from Sephora, it's gorgeous gold, but I also really like on tan skin tones the NARS illuminator. So I kind of take both because one's more pinky rose gold and one I just take from here. And I like to just go in with the wet brush and add more highlighter than I already had. And I like to go a little bit down the cheeks, on the nose, and you can see the look is starting to finish. All we have left to do are our lips and a bit of blush. So for blush, I'm just taking this, it's a BH Cosmetics V2 brush, and it's just like super fluffy. And I like to take, I've got this Morphe palette from literally ages ago, and I like to basically take any of these shades here. I also really like the Charlotte Tilbury blushes, especially in the colours Sex on Fire and Ecstasy. I like peachy kind of tones, or mauvey tones. That's basically the only colours that I like. And I like to just add a little bit where we already added the bronzer, but it just gives a little bit more colour to the face. Next we just have the lips, and then we are done. So I like to use, my favourite colours are Soar by MAC, even though this is well, but I like Soar, don't know what that is. Super Size Me from Charlotte Tilbury, so I'm going to use a little bit of that. But what I like to do is use a cooler browner tone as a bit of like a lip contour. And go around. And then if you're gonna overline, always come back to your natural lip line. And I always have to overline. I've never done any work to my face and I'm too scared to get lip fillers, and so I just like to line my lips to make sure that they're nice and even, and I slope down more on this side, so I always have to fill that in a bit more. And you can draw some little lines on your lips here. And then I don't love lipstick, so I just use another lip liner. And I love this colour from Charlotte Tilbury in Super Size Me. If any of you have got the Pillow Talk lip liner, which I'm sure you do, or the lipstick, it's basically like that, just a little bit darker. And then last but not least, I usually just like to use matte lips. I haven't worn this much makeup in so long, it's so exciting. I love the Marc Jacobs lip gloss in Sugar Sugar, and I like to just put that on top for a little bit of like a nice, if I'm going out, it just makes them a little bit more exaggerated. So that is basically the look for today, guys. There are a lot of steps, but I wanted to show you all of the steps just so that way you can pick the ones that you like and then take it away with you and do it yourself. But all the products are listed below, and if you did like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And yeah, it's been really fun. I hope that you've learned a lot today, And finally, I'm posting tutorials, so hopefully if this goes well, I'm obviously going to put it up, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all, do not be afraid to comment below and I will get back to you all. And see you guys again soon for the next tutorial. Bye!